Liam never considered himself a collector of antiques. His small apartment was plain, beige walls, a sagging sofa, and stacks of old paperbacks. He liked the simplicity, the emptiness. But when he moved an old box from the closet one rainy evening, he found something that would change everything. A wooden clock, dusty, heavy, and oddly warm to the touch. The clock looked ancient. Its face was cracked, the glass scratched, and its hands, thin, black iron, moved in the wrong direction. Backwards. At first, Liam chuckled, assuming it was broken. But when he wound the key he found inside the box, the pendulum began to swing, steady and hypnotic, each tick echoing unnaturally loud in his tiny apartment. Tick-tock, tick-tock. It took him several minutes to realize the sound was wrong. The tick followed the tock, not the other way around. The rhythm felt inverted, like listening to a recording played backward. Then the first chime struck. Gong. The sound rang through his body like a cold shiver. His skin prickled. He stood frozen in the center of his living room as the deep vibration seemed to linger in his bones. He brushed it off at first, but when he caught his reflection in the darkened TV screen, he swore he looked older. Not drastically, just a faint shadow beneath the eyes, a touch of gray at the temple. The second chime came later that night. Liam woke from sleep, the sound reverberating in his skull. He staggered to the bathroom, turned on the light, and gasped. His face had changed. Wrinkles that hadn't been there before crept across his forehead. His hair, once thick and dark, seemed thinner. His chest tightened as panic surged. He tried to stop it. He covered the clock with a blanket, shoved it back into the closet, and slammed the door. But the sound did not stop. Through wood, through walls, through silence, it kept ticking backward, and the chimes returned. By the fifth chime, his hands trembled constantly. His legs ached when he walked, joints stiff and swollen. He had aged decades in mere days. The doctor found nothing wrong, just stress, fatigue, maybe genetics. Liam knew better. He stopped going out, terrified of what the neighbors might say if they saw him deteriorating. He began to study the clock. There were strange carvings on its wooden frame, circles within circles, lines that reminded him of calendars, symbols he couldn't read. Each seemed to swirl if he stared too long, pulling his eyes deeper into the wood. The pendulum's swing mirrored his breathing, until he could no longer tell if the clock moved on its own or through him. Another chime. His teeth ached, his hair turned brittle and fell onto the floor in clumps. He wept, clutching at the strands, but the tears only deepened the lines on his hollow face. His reflection in the mirror had become that of an old man, though barely a week had passed since he found the clock. He considered destroying it. One evening, with shaking hands, he lifted the heavy clock and carried it to the kitchen. He raised it above his head and prepared to smash it against the floor. But before he could, the pendulum stopped mid-swing. The silence was worse than the ticking. In that instant he felt his body stiffen, as if unseen chains bound him in place. His arms wouldn't move, his breath caught in his throat. Then, slowly, the clock began again, ticking backward louder, faster, as though mocking him. His grip loosened and he dropped it onto the table instead of the floor. The pendulum swung once more, triumphant. The final chimes came in rapid succession, one after another, each like a hammer striking the coffin of his youth. With every sound, his vision blurred, his spine curled, his skin sagged. His screams grew weaker until they were no louder than whispers. When the 12th chime rang, Liam collapsed beside the clock, now no more than a frail husk of the man he had been. His chest barely rose. His fingers twitched once, then stilled. The pendulum stopped. The ticking ceased. Silence filled the apartment. Morning light slipped through the blinds, cold and indifferent. The clock sat motionless, its backward hands frozen at midnight. It looked like nothing more than an antique once again. But when the neighbor knocked later that day, curious about the silence, the door swung open on its own. Inside, the apartment was empty. The sofa, the books, even the dust remained, but Liam was gone. Only the clock remained on the table, its pendulum waiting. And when the neighbor stepped closer, the pendulum twitched. Tick, tock, backwards.